So we are starting in one, two, three. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tying K. Yes, I've actually decided to change the name and not call it K-TEIN. I think K-TEIN found a little too pretentious. Maybe I might change it back. It's either here or there. But either way, welcome to Telling Everything in Nuance, featuring your host, Keobastein. This is episode 3 on July 19th of 2025. I once again have a guest, CommDao, fellow friend. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm a little under the weather, but doing better than you, I think. I just wanted to jump in and say I personally like the name K-Time. If I had a chance to weigh my vote, I would say don't change that. But you're the host master, so I'm happy to follow whatever direction you want to go. But me, I like the name K-Time. K-Time and Friends, K-Time Collabs, however way you want to swing it.
Alright, well, it is definitely something that is not final for the most part, but for right now, I'll see what I want to do with it. But for the time being, what we do have on the docket today, if I am correct, is to discuss. Mostly, we're going to try to be a bit more positive because the last two videos were kind of a bit on the negative side. This is going to be more positive, kind of neutral. But I think what we're going to be talking about today is the things that we indulge in so much that we may double or even triple dip at times. So, first, actually, let me ask you this. Would you ever buy anything multiple times? Calm down.
Yes, and that's kind of like the problem or the good talking point that comes out of it today, where it's funny where you say, yeah, for sure, we would only get too negative, we don't want to get cynical. I don't know if this is neutral. I think it's just a fun topic in general because wish list, right, man, or things that people look forward to. I think typically gamers, we focus kind of like on the holiday season, end of year, Christmas, that type of thing. But we're all also looking forward to summer sales. Steam summer sale just wrapped up. But even though PC is kind of taken care of on that front, console sales are going on. And for me, I'm looking at Xbox sales, and it's exactly to that point where there's a title in particular. I've bought it 2 times, but I don't have it on Xbox, and I'm going back and forth, man. I'm saying, do I really want to? Do I need to triple dip on this title? And this one in particular, it has some extra perks going for it, so I'm kind of going back and forth, and maybe talking it through with you, man. You'll help give me some insight as to what I end up doing.
I see. And what is that title that we're looking at today?
So this is Samurai Showdown. In the numerology, I don't know. Is this number 7?
I
Number
believe they
8?
like to call it 2019, just to keep it simple. Some people say Sam Show 7, some say 2019, because it is supposed to be technically a reboot and whatnot.
Mm,
So, yeah. Yeah, it is
yeah.
a reboot because that doesn't move the timeline forward and whatnot. So it's considered a reboot. But I guess in certain circles, some people say 7. So I think it's. I know in the Discord, someone called Samurai Friends. We call it Samurai Showdown 7, but almost collectively from an LGC and wider people perspective, they call it Samurai Showdown 2019. So I like how
Yeah.
they called like KI 2013 because that's
Hmm.
basically building a reboot. It's like Killer Instinct 3, but they don't want to call it Killer Instinct 3, so it's called Killer Instinct 2013 and whatnot. So yeah, stuff like that.
So let's maybe run through like what it has going for it, right? Or I should talk about also what other platforms I had it on. Initially, I bought it on the PS4, and then later in its life cycle, right before they got the proper rollback implementation, I picked it up on PC. But the PC port is also kind of buggy. Um, on Xbox, with the sale that's going on right now, they don't have it neat and convenient for people to purchase where it's all bundled in together. But if you add in the base game, if you add in each season pass individually, the total is still under $20. It's like 18 something USD. And to me, that is a huge bargain for all the characters that you have coming into play. And off air, you were talking about it, that the Xbox Series version of Samurai Showdown has 120 frames per second, which is, I don't know if like I'm sophisticated enough to like actually appreciate that, but I do know that for that reason, the Xbox version of Samurai Showdown is like the preferred tournament platform to play it in. But the graphical style, it's not for everybody. Like it's not going to match Tekken 8 or Street Fighter 6 or Mortal Kombat, on that front. But I think the art style holds up pretty well. Like it meshes well with some of that graphical limitation. And for me, I have a lot of fondness from when I started streaming, and I really accredit Samurai Showdown for teaching me to be a more patient player, to be more cognizant of whiff punishing and looking for those key moments, because this is not a title that you really go into combo. There's not touch of death stuff like that. So that can be like a real appealing part to players. And again, you are the connoisseur. I'm more of the quote unquote casual. But yeah, like that's kind of like where I'm sitting at. So, I mean, for you, when you're thinking about purchases, well, first of all, Keobastein, I should ask you, have you ever bought a game 3 times? Like buying games on multiple platforms, is that kind of a habit that you normally indulge in to begin with?
Well, that all depends of a matter of time frame. Like I guess maybe I want to be a little bit more of a specific thing, because I never have bought things multiple times, but we're talking about like within certain time frame. Like is it really double dipping if it's like I bought the game, then 2 years later I bought the game again, let's say a second time, but let's say it's on a different platform? Is that, will you still consider that double dipping, or just expanding my repertoire or library in a sense? Because I definitely have triple dip, like as far back as like Arcana Hearts, like the original Arcana Hearts that came out on the original PS3. Like when the first Arcana Hearts 3 came out on PS3, I bought that on the PS3 first in Japan. I imported it in Japan. Then I bought the American version that came out like I think a year and a half later. And then I bought and those were all physicals. Then I bought the digital version. Of the new version, but Love Mats Japan. Then I also bought it once again for whatchamacallit on the PS3 when it came to West. Then I got the PSP Vita version when I got PSP Vita. So you kind of see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, no, and that's an important distinction that I didn't really think of, because I do think the timing of it matters, because you're also kind of talking about upgrades along the way, the additional timeline releases. And I think that's important to note also, that games, when they release multi-platform, it's not, back then it wasn't all at once, versus these days sometimes
that's a luxury we definitely have today. So yeah, if we want to talk about basically, let's put a stipend, let's say within a year's time frame, at a year time frame. So if we're going to do within a year time frame, I definitely have bought titles 3 different times. Absolutely, even 4 times. And in fact, that will include Samurai Showdown, because the first time I bought it was on the PS4. That's because that's the title. I mean, that was the platform I could play it on conveniently, because I did have a PC, but actually, no, it didn't come out on PC immediately. Like that was like a few years ago. So yeah,
because they started off with like the Epic Games exclusive, which was controversial, and then it took like 2 or 3 years before that exclusivity split off, where they finally had it on the Steam store. And I almost forgot about that until you mentioned it right there.
And I forgot about Epic Games Store, because now I could say I bought even Blade Stranger 4 times, twice, because on Steam and Epic Store, PS4 and the Switch version. And yeah, I will buy a game multiple times, because before we got into this more crossplay enabled era, even before crossplay, I had a reason to get 3 versions of the console. One, because I did share my account with my homeboy Ghost on my PS4. So whatever I bought on my Sony console, he got access to it because we share and play those games together. So I bought it for that. Also, those were the console standards. So whenever I do go to a local, I'll bring my PlayStation console for that. I bought the Switch version because that is normally where I train on my games on. Like, I use the Switch version to train and play the game. Like, if I get an idea and I want to train on it while I'm not home or if I'm at work, then yeah, that's why I use the Switch version for that. And then my PC would be my primary platform for playing and competing on, if anything. Like, that's the one I like the most to play on the PC version and whatnot. So even before crossplay was even a decision, I always got those three versions if the game was made multi-platform. I didn't always get it all at once, but normally I would prioritize the PlayStation version, get the PC version, and then get the Switch version and whatnot. So yeah. Oh, I definitely did that for Battle for the Grid, because when I did have an S-Box, I don't have an S-Box anymore. I remember Battle for the Grid coming out like 2 to 3 days earlier on the S-Box store, and I was just way too impatient to wait for the other console to get it. So I bought Battle for the Grid on the S-Box store first. Then eventually I got it on, I believe, my Switch version, then the PS4 version, and then from there PlayStation eventually. Actually, I think I got on PlayStation first, and then eventually, yeah, actually the Steam version was the very last one I bought. So yeah, going back to your question, I did bought games 3 to 4 times on multiple platforms. Now, actually, there is a game I do have that is not necessarily multi-platform, but I am about to almost triple dip now, because do you know about the series Azure Striker Gunvolt from NT Creates?
Yes. Kind of now, I mean, no disrespect in case like the diehards are going to say it's more sophisticated than that, but on a surface level, I look at it kind of like a throwback or maybe more evolved version of Mega Man X. It's kind of like the vibe those games are going for.
Actually kind of exactly what it is in a sense. Okay. I mean, sorry, at least that's how I do perceive it to some extent. At least to me personally, that's how I kind of do personally perceive it. Even though there are, I guess, maybe some nuance we're going to, but regardless, Intercreate just announced that they are doing a digital re-release of a package of the 3 games called Azure Striker Trilogy Ascension, which basically will add some additional features, but also give you all 3 games all together. And there are some differences between, like, the original double striker pack. Like, in fact, the striker pack that came out, that gave you Gunvolt 1 and 2 initially. Like, that was only on console. They didn't offer a striker pack on the PC version. And so first time I ever got Gunvolt was on the 3DS, so maybe I won't really count that, but I got the striker pack so I could finally play Gunvolt 2 and then Gunvolt 1 with 60 FPS and whatnot. Then then I also got it for the Steam version, because the Steam version had even better frame rate and I think an additional hard mode. Now they got Striker Pack coming out, which is once again giving you Gunvolt 1 and 2, but also number 3, which I never got a chance to play. That comes with all the DLCs, some of the extended audio stuff and whatnot. So there's like a lot of bang and buck coming from this. And what's also really nice is they are going to give a deal to people who own the original game and whatnot. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's great, man. So like the sense I get from you is you don't really have any qualms with doing like a purchase of a title that you've had before, especially when there's additional features. Like that's an even better perk and sell for like buying the game again.
Oh yeah, I definitely have a problem, because it's all a matter of, well, I did say my PC is my primary. If I'm playing fighting games, I'm pretty much am on my PC. When I am trying to play games that are not fighting games and whatnot, I have leaned more towards I want to play on my Switch, because that is a lot more of it easier to pick up and play and drop. Even though I did say I train on my Switch, I do have a tendency. Well, the Switch is a handheld console that plays pad, but I play on a arcade light stick, or rather a hitbox. So they don't necessarily transfer over. What I'm just transferring is the theory behind, okay, this is how this combo work and whatnot. Yeah. And the timing, okay, I'm going to transfer over to the hitbox, which still requires some adjustments and whatnot. But yeah, I don't have a problem double dipping.
So when you were explaining your reasoning behind like why you would get it on certain platforms, my my reasons are different, but it's like almost similar in the same way. Like for me, PS4 was usually initially first because PS4 is like when I got back into fighting games. Like let's say we'll trace it back to Street Fighter V on in 2016 when that launched, right? And that was a PlayStation and PC exclusive. Um, and I bought a bulk and majority of my fighting games for the PS4 because like that was my main platform. Then when I was trying out streaming, that kind of like paved the way to double dip because I wanted to have those titles to stream and play, and as long as my PC rig could handle it, that was great. And I have a hand-me-down rig from a friend with like the capabilities of it were peak for 2013. So in a lot of ways, I was surprised that I could run more recent titles at the time, like Tekken 7 or Soul Calibur 6. But if it could handle that, like I was really pleased with it. Um, PS4, a lot of the titles started to chug because I had one of the original PlayStation 4 models, and I think 2 or 3 years ago now, I got a Xbox Series S. So with that being the main platform, starting to migrate and double dip or get more titles on it. The most recent fighters, Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, like I have it on the Series S because that's the only platform that can handle it. And then I forgot to mention the Switch. Um, it struck a chord with me with what you were saying about the theory and concepts behind it. Like the Switch is good for 2D fighters because like there's no real trade off. Or I mean, if you're hardcore about it, you'll notice some trade off, but like they can usually run the 2D fighters all right. But for a title that I'm like really unfamiliar with, like to me, Mortal Kombat 11 plays really, really differently than most of these other fighters. So me just trying to wrap my head around it, like the combo structure, how the characters' inputs flow into each other. I know there's like the dial combo system in it. Just getting used to that, I'm glad that I had the Switch to take care of it, even though there was like a huge graphical trade-off for it. So that's kind of where I am on those games there. There was a couple titles that I bought on Switch initially, like Melty Blood Type Lumina, which I really enjoyed Melty Blood Type Lumina. The Switch port of Melty Blood Type Lumina really suffers, and maybe that's like not the best there. I bought Under Night 2 on the Switch, and it's great to have that to lab, but I didn't double dip where I didn't get that on Steam where I think the majority of the player base would be on there. So that's
I think
kind of like
I think actually when it comes to Ember, the PS4 was originally the better place to get games, but I think it now has migrated to Steam version. But honestly, the player base is, because that is those games we just mentioned are in the Discord fighter stage, that you pretty much are better off just playing on the platform that's kind of your choice. I do see people ask for games either on Steam or the lose my train of thought, PlayStation version. But rarely see it on the Switch version, but they still have their rooms there, and I'm pretty sure there's some people who still buy that, especially when it comes to people who may be in less of an advantage economy place, that the Switch is definitely ideal. And actually, I'll say this, I think the Switch version is still the most popular platform for a lot of niche games, like Battle for the Grid. I think the Switch version is still preferred online for that game as opposed to the other consoles and whatnot and everything. But yeah, actually going back to your original thing, like helping you trying to figure out if you want to get Samurai Showdown on the Xbox. I'm assuming they don't have a demo for you to try out on the Xbox Series S, do you? Like a demo version?
I don't think so, and that's another thing where it sucks that more games don't do that demo type of setup or trial version.
Yeah, it is just one thing. I think we're all getting to a point where it may start becoming more practice. Like Nintendo definitely does it for almost nearly, not nearly, but a good portion of their games. So thank goodness Nintendo does that.
I mean, even more recent fighters, they're pretty good about it. Like Street Fighter 6 has a demo, Tekken 8 has a demo. I don't remember if Mortal Kombat 1 had one or not, but
I don't
as far
recall
as
Mortal Kombat
concerned.
1 having it. If Tekken had a demo, that would have surprised me. Street Fighter 6 did have a demo. I'm not surprised by Street Fighter 6 doing it, because that's like, but the fact that we're basically saying the top echelon is doing demos, but more the middle people who, sorry, they're the ones who need to do demos more, because they don't have the good faith of, we have a legacy behind us, we done good products before, that people need to, well, I need to see what you're offering before you give me access to this game and whatnot. But going back to Samurai Shodown on the Xbox Series, are you familiar with the website called Is There a Deal?
Yes. Is There Any Deal is the good one for PC titles.
Oh,
and
so
then
they don't
Deku
do
Deals.
Oh, so they don't do it for on console version. Damn.
Deku Deals does it for console, and that's where I watched it, and that's why I know it's like a good deal for like the bundle of everything. Like I said, every single DLC and the base game, you have to manually add it to your cart, but once you do, it's still under $20 to me. Like any complete edition of any fighting game for 20 or less, that's where hey, I know money's tight, everybody's financial situation is different. To me, that's like palatable, like that makes sense. Of course, like you could wait, like a counterpoint to this, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate and Injustice 2 Legendary Edition, often when on sale, they get bundled together. So both complete versions of those titles for $10 in total. That's amazing. Even if you don't like,
for their single player, they're good. Their online is decent. I'm pretty sure there's still people who do play those games online, contrary to everybody want to keep saying. I guess actually, maybe I'm going to use some of the techniques I do when I'm deciding if I want to get a game, even if I maybe already own it. My first thing is, the reason I brought up are you familiar with Is There a Deal? Because one thing that does determine whether I want to buy a game or not, so help me determine if I want to go ahead and purchase a game or not, is how often does it go on sale?
Yes.
And then also, what's been the discount rate for it? Like, if the game doesn't go on sale often, then I'm more inclined to basically buy it, because it's like, well, this sale is basically a grand opportunity. But if it's a game that goes on sale periodically, then it's like, okay, I don't feel pressure because there'll be another opportunity to do so. But then it also comes, well, how much is the sale and whatnot? Besides how much money you have, can I either get a even cheaper deal and whatnot? One thing about fighting games personally, because I had a talk with Ghost about this before. Like, Ghost had told me, Keobastein, a lot of times I'm just gonna buy fighting games once they're fully complete and at a sale, at a very hard discount, because I'm not looking to play these games right away. And while I'm on the opposite end, I usually tend to buy games right away, because as Maximilian has said in one of his videos, the best time to play and buy a game is when the game normally comes out, because that's when everybody is just learning the game. So that's where everybody's doing the social networking and whatnot, learning the game. And also, you won't get completely curb stomped because people are, again, just learning the game. Yeah, that's when matchmaking is also going. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Giuna had the same sentiments also on that.
Yeah, I might have to catch that video then. But yeah, so for me, generally, I like to try to get games as soon as I can. That's why I'm also kind of like thinking maybe I really should still go ahead and get Hunter x Hunter Impact. I did see people who now know what they're talking about the game and whatnot, and I do believe the game's rollback will get fixed eventually. And while I feel the game is not worth $60, I won't lie, I still feel like I just kind of want to explore what this game does. And it does give a demo, which we just mentioned. We don't get like Hunter x Hunter is one of the few going to get a demo, which is very good. But because it's a team game, like only really one character I really want to play is on that demo. That being Neatoro and whatnot. But there are other characters I want to try. They're not part of the demo and whatnot. And also, this is what I kind of don't like, but maybe also makes. But in retrospect, it does make sense. The demo does give a training mode, but it's also a very limited training mode. Like, the one thing it doesn't allow you to change too many parameters, but the one thing they locked out is the dummy function. So this means if I want to test how certain things work, I can't replicate that, because there's no function to control the dummy. It's either just the dummy stands still, another player controls it, or I use the CPU. And as a person who does a lot of theory and lab crafting and like does a counterplay, I need that dummy record function. So even that alone is like making me okay. Maybe I want to grab this game. But getting back to, if you have checked about Samurai Showdown on Xbox and see how often it goes on sale, the price range, you don't need to worry about getting it immediately because this is already a game that's old, outdated. So the player base is already on the Discord fighter. So there's really no rush to get it unless you just want a very new, different experience to see how like the 120 FPS is and whatnot.
You're hitting it on the head there, and I just want to like kind of cover multiple things that you said there. So the aspect of FOMO, because I didn't even think about that, it doesn't apply here. It is just good practice. Whatever website resource you want to use, again, shout outs to istthereanydeal.com for PC game stuff, and then Deku Deals for any console game sales purchases, and you can see the history. They'll make a note of like lowest price record, and you can sift through and see the timeline of it. I will say that I'm probably more familiar with checking SNK prices through Is There Any Deal, and they are frequent enough. Usually I'll try to make a note of like, oh, is there like a huge discrepancy between like the PC sale versus like the console sale history, and like that's how I would look at it before. I think they're on par with each other. This might have been the second time in its history that the Xbox has gotten this low on its sales price. But what you were saying about your friend Ghost, I would say like in general, the NRS games, like waiting until they're $20 for like their complete editions is probably like the way to go if you're not in any rush to get it sooner. What you were talking about, trying to hop on sooner, again, a sentiment mentioned by Maximilian and Giuna, I think it really kind of depends on what game you're playing.
Oh yeah.
I would say 2D fighters and tag fighters, especially like SNK games, you're absolutely right, man. Like if you miss that first month window after that, like it's all diehards and you will get curb stomped. Bigger titles, like let's go back to the big three, unfortunately, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Mortal Kombat, I think you can find people of all the different levels.
Yeah, you'll still find a lot of people different just due to its cultural power and
exactly. So and then what it really boils down to, like half the reason why, if it's not triple dipping, double dipping games on the Xbox is because like that's kind of taken over as like my main platform of choice. So it would make sense to buy games again. A title that I know for sure that I've triple dipped were both Dead or Alive 5 and Dead or Alive 6. Controversy aside, whatever DLC practices, whatever people have complaints about the mechanics, that's one of the most.
It was blown out of proportion. I mean, if I can throw in, what they did, they just kind of sacrificed it they just grabbed the lowest hanging fruit just so they can make an excuse to not engage with the game, and not because what it did was bad, when many other things were doing things quote unquote far worse. And even then, here's the thing that Dead or Alive also still doing better than current games. And when I'm looking at you, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Side Games, they give you a free to play version and they allow you to get what exactly you want. That was my disappointment with Grand Blue versus Rising. Like I already knew I already knew who I wanted to play. I already Uno. So I was just like, all right, well, instead of me double dipping on that game, because I definitely double dip on PS4 and console and PC. So when they announced Rising, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get the PS4 version, full version, and when it comes to Steam, I'll just grab the one character I want to play for the free-to-play version. Nope, the free-to-play version, you only get one character for free, 3 others rotate, and if you want everything else, you gotta buy the full game.
Right.
And whatnot. And this is a game that also has a battle pass that also changes and you lose out on, unlike Dead or Alive, where they give you season pass, where we have this and it's here until you get it and whatnot and everything. Like, yes, did they put a lot of microtransactions that you can buy? Yes, but I prefer that because you can choose what you want to buy and you're still able to enjoy the base game from that. So whatnot.
I think people were scared off, like, because also at the time of Dead or Alive 6, like this part, I'm not saying people have to be completely accepting, but I don't think the presence of gacha games in like the cultural sphere was as widely known. So like a lot of the pricing for, like, if you look at the season pass prices for Dead or Alive 6, they are for sure outrageous, man. Like over $60 like per season pass. But you know, other than the whales, you know, if we want to use that term, most people are going to wait till they're on sale, you know? And then like the season passes drop down to 20 something bucks, which is still not cheap, but again, with the free versions of both Dead or Alive 6, you can buy stuff a la carte. And even though I triple dipped on those purchases, like by the time I got the third platform, which was the Xbox, like every once in a while I'll get tempted, you know, like right now with Dead or Alive 6, Mai, Shiranui, and Kula Diamond are on sale, and it's like, oh, do I want to triple dip on them? But then I have to remind myself, if I ever want to revisit those characters, I can play them on the other platforms, and there's a reason why I have that hesitation, because they're not my main characters. You know, like I already have my mains up and available that I can play with. So no regrets on triple dipping on Dead or Alive 6. Like a title that I've considered triple dipping, Soul Calibur 6, because that's another title. Like I just love myself 3D fighters. I've considered getting the definitive edition of Tekken 7 on Xbox, especially with how Tekken 8 Season 2 has gone about. But I have also heard that the Tekken 7 port is the worst on the Xbox with the resolution and all that stuff. And being able to play Tekken Tag 2 on Xbox, that's probably way better than going back to Tekken 7 at this point. And if I want to play Tekken 7, I can always play it on PC just fine. So tying it all back to Samurai Showdown, man, like I think, you know, I can dilemma myself silly. And it is kind of fun to an extent. I mean, like, just look how long we've been talking about just the triple purchase dilemma in general. But I have to like really sit and sleep on, it would be nice to have. It is kind of like neat to think of like, what is this 120 FPS going to be like? But realistically, if I buy Samurai Showdown a third time, am I actually going to play it? And that's always kind of the thing I got to sit with, because like the nice to have, the potential of it, but am I actually going to play Samurai Showdown, or am I just going to go back to Dead or Alive or Tekken 8 or any of these other fighters or non-fighting games, right?
I was having that dilemma with Grand Blue versus Rising and with City of the Wolves, because right now I do have those games, the full games, on my the PS5. But with how I don't really play on those consoles that much unless I want to play those specific games. I'm very much used to playing on my PC, and because I am I like to play a lot more methodical. I do play reactionary thing, so I need things to be very clean and tight when it comes to inputs and whatnot. And let's just say the Steam version, the PC version of games do seem to have the better performances. I guess in one case in point I want to bring out, in Marvel's Capcom Infinite, I like to play Black Panther, and he has a high execution to do his let's say Predator art like loop. Like, I think it's like very difficult to do. Now, when I was playing the game, it was mostly on the PS4 initially, and trying to do it on that, I had some challenges. When I finally got the PC version and started doing it, it was like, I won't say night and day difference, but it was there. It was noticeable that I had to like, wait, why can't I do it here? Like, granted, yes, there was some prior muscle memory built, but it was like a whole lot more easier. And I'm like, well, fucking damn. So, damn. But then another thing also is like, because I keep going back from between PC games, like, Blade Stranger, when I'm playing Blade Stranger online on the PC version, I have a way better time blocking overheads as opposed to blocking it on the PlayStation version, console version. So a lot of certain techniques I want to use. So right now, a lot of my current negative feelings towards City of the Wolves and Grand Blue vs. Rising is because I'm playing them on the PS5 version. Now, to be fair, I still do have gripes of how the games are designed in general, but a lot of it is also due to me being salty of having challenges like, oh my goodness, I have a hard time reacting and dealing with these things as they come. But if I'm on the PS4, but if I'm on a PC version, which has better frame rate because I have a 160 hertz monitor, and I'm on a console, so I'm on a PC with lower input, that I'm like, I feel I may have a better gaming experience. I don't think these will make me go, oh, I love these games, but it'll make these, okay, I can put these games in my rotations. Because right now, I don't really want to play those games due to some of the execution challenges I find and whatnot. So, like, for me, I could definitely see a reason for me to grab Samurai Showdown on the Xbox version for that type of maybe performance. But otherwise, it's hard for me to suggest getting that. In fact, I want to say we're about to have Evo, and that's where a lot of games like to try to do their sales. Now, admittedly, I don't know if Samurai Showdown is going to do another sale or SNK do a sale for them, right? Like, they don't normally do, all right, here's a sale for this game a month ago, and now we're going to do another one
on Steam, maybe.
Steam? I guess maybe on Steam then. But yeah, I would say, if anything, I say hold off on it. See what happens right after Evo, because Evo is right around the corner. We're going to see deals happen. Like, in fact, they might not even do actual deal. They might do a price cut all of a sudden, because the game is peculiarly old now, so they may just start doing price cuts on it eventually. And but I will say there's one other advantage that you may have for getting the Xbox version. Do you have any interest in the Microsoft handheld thing? I think called a ROG Ally. Is that what it's called?
Man, like, if you would have asked me that question like 2-3 years back, I think I would be like all hyped for it. But the idea of like having a Switch, like, I actually use my Switch way less than I thought. There would be spurts and moments where I was labbing and really happy to have that feature of it. But like, these days, it's either I'm just going to lab on like the main platform or play something else, you know? One thing that I want to just circle back to real quickly when you're talking about the input lag, dude, isn't it crazy how out of all the platforms, the PS5 seems to have like the most input lag out of all of them?
Not crazy, since it seems to be a recurrent history since I wasn't really in depth in the fighting game community at the time, but I did notice back in the old days, people were playing a lot more on Xbox than they were on PS3, which I didn't quite understand, even in tournaments. But then I learned, because the Xbox had better input delay than the PS3 version and whatnot. So, yeah. And the only reason people played mostly on the PS4 version is because fighting game wasn't coming out on the Xbox One at the time, like barely at the Xbox One. So, yeah. So now that we're now into a much more multi-platform enable, the Xbox version, the PS version having the worst input lag, that's kind of been a consistent thing from what I understand and whatnot. There are some outliers here, but yeah.
Yeah, I think, and what you were saying about like the game performance, like for me, it hasn't been the input lag situation since I don't have a PS5, and also even if I did, maybe with my ability, I would not be smart enough to notice it. I probably would, but just throwing that out there. I will say that if any, never any hard regrets, but if I would say like kind of like, oh, maybe I didn't need a double dip, it would be like for performance issues overall. So we could say again like the melty blood type Lumina port of Switch is not great, but also likewise the Steam version of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax or whatever it's called is also bunk, man. Like it's not.
Yeah, that's good. One I haven't grabbed that one yet. I grabbed the Switch and PS4 version, but I definitely didn't stay on it. But if there was a game that I did regret buying multi-platform, even like immediately day one, because I thought I would enjoy it, it would be SNK Heroines Tag Frenzy. The Switch version is garbage, terrible. It should not have been released in that form. And I thought that game would handle. It seemed like they basically just didn't optimize it for the Switch at all. It was definitely running at 15 FPS. Oof. At 15 FPS, and dip further. So I couldn't even use that to train on it. Because that's the reason why I got on the Switch version. I wasn't going to actually fight on that, but I was going to train on that at least. And when I experienced that, yep, regret. It was not worth grabbing it on the Switch version.
I mean, with that title especially, I know like another huge pain point for everybody, like how expensive that game was. Because I remember when I finally bought it on PC, I was waiting on a sale for forever because it just would not drop under $30 even for the longest time.
It rarely dropped price. And even as a person who does advocately like the game, 40 is too much. 30 is even almost too much. No, actually no. 30 is too much. 25.
20.
Go ahead.
Like, the 25 is like forgive. You're being lenient. I think 20 and under, like preferably like $12, because I think that's like the historical low for that game. 10 to 12 would be the way to go. I just wanted to shout out earlier, even though the ports of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax are buggy, like I think that game goes as low as like $7 or $8. So like that's a decent trade-off, I think, if you did want to explore it. Again, like pretty big, sizable roster, especially if you're a Persona fan, if you like anime fighters. Those are good things there. And then to kind of put a bow on all this and wind things down in case you had any other points, I think, Keobastein, you're totally right. As far as like huge incentive to play, I can be honest and say probably it's not there for Samurai Showdown. And this sales price, while tempting, it's good to just know and remind myself that, okay, hey, maybe $18 is the price to beat. Because it is crazy with SNK's practices that you think that they would have like the complete edition, but I know they did kind of like that bait and switch as they winded down King of Fighters 15, and when they put it over on Xbox, because like they have multiple versions. You know, you have like the deluxe version that includes like the season 1 DLC pass, and then they finally put their ultimate version out, and like that can be even cheaper than the deluxe version. So yeah, maybe that's going to happen with Samurai Showdown. Maybe it won't, but maybe $18 is going to be the price. And I don't think this is the only time it'll be that price.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the only time, but I think here's another thing also to probably consider. Who you're going to play with it on. Because like I said, these games aren't... Sorry, the games that we're talking about right now, they're definitely in the quote-unquote niche, small to Discord fighter and whatnot. Like... Well, I would say this also. There are probably a lot more SBOS game owners who in the West than probably maybe PlayStation owners, I feel. Unless you're like a gaming enthusiast. Like, I know gaming enthusiasts will get PlayStation, but like people... Let's say I want to tell people at my job about Samurai Showdown. Majority of them are probably going to be on SBOS. My manager has an SBOS. Coworkers have SBOS and whatnot. So, like, if you know you got friends who are on the SBOS and you do hang out and play with them routinely, then yeah, getting a game on that console for that is probably a good reason to do so. Especially if you want to try to get other people into it. Like, actually, that's the reason why I want to get SBOS for myself, because there are a lot of people who seem to pick up Phantom Breaker on the Xbox, but right now I'm not in a position to play them because, well, I don't have an Xbox One to try that game on. So, yeah. So, if you have friends who you more frequently play with on the Xbox, and if the Xbox is your primary console to play on, that's definitely a good incentive to probably grab it on the Xbox.
Yeah, I have some contradicting points because it's like, yeah, Xbox is my primary platform, but it's not the platform to play with friends. Like, that would still be PC. So yeah, that's a good point to consider. Well, if anything, man, you helped me save $18 for now, so that's good. Anything else you'd want to say on double dipping, triple dipping, multi-platform purchases?
No, I mean, really not that much. It really definitely is what's best for each person and whatnot. I mean, if you are a person who owns multiple platforms, I think we are in the age where most people should own. Sorry, ideally, most people should own multiple platforms. Otherwise, really just it is a matter of just basically, is this a product I need right now? Or sorry, as far as double dipping, I'm kind of just in a matter of just take the time to think about it. Oh, no. That's the thing with sales. Sales do take advantage of the FOMO, and that actually did happen with the Steam sale with me. I was going to like grab a few games, but when I was kind of like finally really just about to just impulse buy and just grab it, I stopped myself and I'm like, wait a minute, let me check my backlog. Like, what games do I own? And there are so many games that I owned I didn't realize I had, and I'm like, actually, I think I'd rather play these games first. So I could disk my because I had a lot. So I'd rather with the Steam sale, I was going to get just a lot of games I wanted to get because they were on sale or I did want it. But then I kind of correlated to like, you know what? Here are the things I will buy. There were a lot of on-rail games. Like, on-rail games are like a rarity and whatnot. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to make my cart be a bunch of on-rail games. And I'll go ahead and get Virtual Fighter Revo. Oh, yeah, that's a game I am about to, that I did double dip recently. Virtual Fighter Revo, because I already had that on my PlayStation already. But now that Revo is on online net play with rollback on the PC version, that was reason to grab it because the PC version had rollback and whatnot. But getting back to the point, I guess what we want to say is sale and FOMO is a very strong thing. Even it gets me. That's why I'm kind of glad I haven't gotten into those gacha games and whatnot, because FOMO could have a strong appeal. I mean, hell, I'm experiencing FOMO right now with Nin Impact, but I am kind of pacing myself for the most part. But yeah, I would say really just pace yourself, count. Basically just like look at what do I already have, what is the goal of getting the game and whatnot. And I'd definitely say, well, how does it go on sale? Because I think that's what is the advantage we have in this era. We could find out things when things are going on sale. So you could actually make an educated plan of, do I need to get it now? Or there's a better opportunity for another sale later on, and vice versa. And since I mostly play competitive games, yeah, I say getting the games immediately, or at least as soon as they come out. That's one reason I maybe don't struggle too much with deals, because I usually buy games when they immediately come out, even at their asking price and whatnot. Maybe not when it comes to multi-platform, but yeah. I think that probably wraps up with everything I want to say.
Yeah, I like your other point that puts it all more succinctly. Dude, look at your... Because I think every gamer's backlog should be enough to like talk them out of any kind of game purchase. Even if it is going to be a fun and worthwhile game. Like, is there stuff that you haven't touched or finished that you probably should? The answer is 99% of the time.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I looked at it. So, yeah. So, all right. I think that's going to wrap up this episode of Time K. So, hey, CommDao, where can people find you once again?
Yeah, people can catch me on Twitch at CommDao, CommDao.
All right, and if I finally start streaming, you should be able to find me at let me see if I can get my Twitch up. This is something I should have done before, but oh well, you live and learn. All right, yes, so if you want to find Keobastein, you can find me at twitch.tv at Keobastein, and my Twitter should also be at KeoGamer at Twitch. We'll go ahead and have that in the description. But otherwise, hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. Take care. Happy summer.
Happy summer.